How much have I made over the last 5 years with my side business on Etsy? Let's take a look. So if we look at the all-time total revenue, it's £161,000 or 205,000 US dollars using a 1.27 exchange rate. This includes 3 months at the end of 2018 where I made about £550 or 700 US dollars. Hi, my name's Alan and I'm making this video to help you out if you're considering doing a handmade side business, or you're kind of just at the beginning of your journey and wondering how it might be like over the next few years. So to give you a bit of context, I do this around my day job, which is currently, I work 4 days a week, 3 at home and 1 day in the office in London. And I've got 2 kids. My daughter's now 6 years old. I started my side business when she was 6 months, and we also have a son who's 2 years old. Yeah, and then I also help out with just like the general household stuff. So typically I would work on my business in the evenings when the kids go up for their bath and bed, and then also at the weekends where you know, if there's some downtime, and also in the evenings of course. That's when I'll fit in all the stuff I need to do. I'll add some timestamps below the video so that you can jump to the section that's most relevant to you. I'll cover the overall trend in sales that I've seen over the last 5 years, and why I think it needs a bit of a correction if I was to start today. Then I'll look at the kind of monthly sales trend over the last couple of years so that you can see kind of the highs and lows over the year. I'll also talk about why revenue, total revenue, isn't the most important metric you should be considering when you kind of watch these kind of videos and you say, wow, I've made like 6 figures, because what you make in revenue isn't exactly what you take home. And I'll give you one big hint. The main reason why is Etsy's fees. I'll also cover another important point to consider if you're thinking about doing a side hustle and you've already got like a day job and not a regular job. Finally, I'll just give my thoughts quickly about whether I think it's worth it or not. Overall trend for the last 5 years. So I started in October 2018, and for the first month I had no orders, and then they started coming in. I was probably lucky that I started in Q4, and generally that's a busy time for retail anyway. So in 2019, revenue increased 17 times. Actually though, a better comparison to 2018 would be just to take a quarter of 2019's revenue, which would be a 4 times increase, which is still not bad. Then in 2020, revenue increased by 4.5 times the previous year. This of course coincided with lockdown, so people couldn't go out to shop in any shops that weren't essential. And then 2021 and 2022 were pretty level, and the last year, 2023, revenue dropped by 13%. So there's a couple of reasons for this. The main one being the shops are open again and people are out visiting, you know, brick and mortar stores and spending less time shopping online. But the second reason, which I think most of us have experienced, is just the cost of living crisis. At least it has been in the UK. So everything from fuel for your car to energy, and the cost of food has gone up a lot, so and you're probably well aware. And I wanted to say, if I go back to the corrections to the yearly trend, that if I was starting now, I would draw a bit of a different line, because you wouldn't have that boost from people being stuck at home shopping online. The blue line is probably more of what I'd expect to see without that kind of lockdown situation happening. Why revenue isn't a good indicator of earnings? Okay, for me, the biggest cost is Etsy fees. In 2023, fees were £6,400 or 8,150 US dollars, and advertising fees were £2,935 or $3,730. That's a whopping £9,335 or $11,900, nearly $12,000 in fees and costs of advertising, which is like 25% of my my revenue. 2022 was worse because I earned about 13% more. So the fees were £7,290 or 9,276 US dollars, and ads cost me £3,800 or $4,835. Totaling in 2022 £11,090 or $14,100. And it gets worse. You have to consider, well, depending on your country and your personal situation, but there's also income tax. So in the UK there's 3 rates. So you have your personal allowance of 12,000 and something pounds, which is tax free, but after that, from that tax-free amount to £50,270, you get taxed 20% on those earnings. And then above 50,270 to £125,140, you get taxed 40%. And then anything over 125,140, you get 45% tax. Although I think if you're earning that much, whether you'd be doing a handmade side business, maybe, why not? You know, it's fun for the most part. So yeah, you need to kind of think about that, because if you're, depending what you're earning, your business can kind of take you into the next band, and you have to think for yourself whether that's worth it. For me, no, because in the last couple of years, I got pushed into that, paying that 40% tax, and no, I'd rather spend that time chilling out. You know, why go through all the effort in the evenings in your spare time to be taxed so heavily? So there is a workaround for that if you come to that scenario. And you might think, if you're just starting out, oh no, that won't happen, but try and think that you will get there, because, you know, if your products sell, it's just a matter of time that you can build up the sales momentum, and then gradually the income will go higher and higher. So just give you an example, when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. Never sold on Etsy before. I don't even think I'd known about Etsy. It's only because I made something to sell that I found Etsy as a marketplace and a good platform to start on. Anyway, so when I started, obviously that first month, nothing, and then orders started to trickle in, and I just thought, oh, this is all right. And it started to be just enough to pay my phone bill, and then as time went on, it was enough to pay all the bills. And now I think, well, it's not quite at the point where it can take over my day job, but certainly if the worst was to happen and I lost my job, or it got really bad and I just wanted out, it gives me a bit of buffer and to not have to be really stuck and just jump into the next random job. So I'd say it's worth doing, because, you know, a bit of extra cash for time that I'd otherwise just be watching like endless episodes on TV, or, you know, scrolling through on social media. I think it's good. Or what I've had to do now to make it worthwhile is to separate my handmade business income from my personal income, so that you don't get taxed so heavily on every penny that comes in. Is it worth it? Short answer, yes. Apart from a couple of little hiccups, Etsy have been really good to me over the years. They've brought me, as you've seen, all that income which otherwise I wouldn't have had. Now I wear kind of all the hats, so apart from tax returns where I have the help of an accountant, I do, you know, the making of the product, you know, listing them up for sale, very little social media if I'm being honest, packing, posting, customer service, you know, people have questions, any problems, shipping delays, all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot to kind of cram in just, you know, in the evenings and weekends. Although it's 25% of my earnings that have gone direct to Etsy, I think it's worth it. I have compulsory offsite ads, so I couldn't opt out of them, but I think they're worth it, because I do see quite a few orders from those offsite ads, and yeah, you only pay the fee if someone orders from the ad, which is brilliant, because normally if you do your own advertising online, you pay per click. So whether or not that person visits your shop and buys something, you pay you pay the advertising fee, and that can add up quite quickly and waste a lot of your money. So I think for the foreseeable future, I'll carry on selling on Etsy because, you know, they bring me pretty much all of my traffic. I think it's 80 to 85% of traffic is from them. So yeah, just by me not doing any marketing of my own, there's kind of this steady stream of orders, which is really good. But of course, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Things change, and there is a bit of a decline I've seen last year. Whether this continues, I don't know. I think you just got to keep ahead and try different things. So sort of looking towards the future, I'll keep the Etsy shop going, but I'm going to broaden my offering and offer more on the photo side of things, because a lot of what I sell are art displays mostly. So I'm going to kind of broaden that niche a bit. And also I'm on a program to properly like develop and market my own website. So that will eventually, I imagine, kind of bring in more sales and give that backup if things were to just, for whatever reason, go wrong with Etsy. I've got another way of selling. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be good to have a crystal ball, but the hope is one day my side hustle doesn't have to be a side hustle anymore and can be my main hustle. I hope you've got some value from this video. If so, please consider liking and subscribing. If you've got any questions at all, do feel free to ask them in the comments. You know, I'm not by any means an expert in kind of Etsy or online selling, but you know, I've learned a fair few things over the last 5 years. So yeah, I'll be happy to help if you've got any questions. All right, so thanks for making it to the end. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, bye.